Hello, my name is Lola, and I'm going to be reacting to Nostalgia Critic's The Brave Little Toaster. Never seen it, never heard of it until now, so here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, behold the outcast, the creepy and depraved, the bizarre creations not meant for the normal world. Embrace the twisted weirdness of freak show cinema.
Since I first started this series, I got a fair amount of people asking me to talk about The Brave Little Toaster. Really? The Brave Little Toaster? The 1987 Disney film about an animated toaster and his friends searching for their long-lost owner. I remember liking this movie okay, but I don't remember anything especially dark in it. Aside from this scene. Run. And maybe this moment. And maybe this was more intense than I remember. On the surface, Brave Little Toaster appears to be a family-friendly film, and I do stand by that's what it is. For the most part. The movie about a group of appliances left alone in a cabin for so long they go searching for their master, who used to be a little boy but is now a grown man, has the usual adventure elements you would expect. It has a lineup of colorful characters, a radio voiced by John Lovitz.
Sorry, folks, we seem to be experiencing a little technical difficulty, but I'm sure it's nothing we can't handle.
A vacuum voiced by Thurl Ravenscroft.
Cry, cry, weep, wail, and sob. It's disgusting.
A lamp named Lampy. A blanket named Blanky. Yes, if a bird was involved, he'd be named Eagly. And the toaster, voiced by, this was a surprise to me, Deanna Oliver.
There's only one rule. You can't stop till the house is clean.
If that name doesn't ring a bell, her writing has shaped half your childhood. In fact, she often wrote with Sherry Stoner, who also shaped half your childhood. It's kind of cool these two were working behind the scenes on so many things you never noticed until you're older. Unlike other movies we've talked about in Freak Show cinema, though, Brave Little Toaster wasn't criticized for being too dark. Chicago Sun-Times said it was an adorable adventure that kids will treasure. It won a Parents' Choice Award, and I don't know, look at it. It seems like a cute enough film.
Time fly by in the city of light.
Actually, I remember even when I was 6 years old that it had a little bit more of a mature feel to it. Yes, it's about big-eyed objects with cute voices, and yes, there's a lot of bouncy music, but there's also a sense that a harsh reality is always around the corner. Take this scene early on when the electric blanket is remembering what it was like to have the master come home. It's all loud, bright, and colorful like you would expect, but then...
Jesus.
Now that's not a scary scene, but it is a rough one.
Whoa.
There's a lot of quiet moments where nobody talks, or even sometimes the music just shuts off and somebody will, well, just feel bad. It creates a relatability for kids, like they know it's not gonna lie and say everything is just great all the time. When something happens that's a downer, it's gonna take the time to let it feel like a downer. It even starts off on kind of a harsh note. The air conditioner, played by Phil Hartman doing a Jack Nicholson voice.
Hey, I'm real scared there, Kirby. What are you gonna do, suck me to death?
I guarantee you Hartman improvised that. This is the guy who wrote for Pee-wee.
Now, Pee-wee, there's two things missing from this drawing. Two things a sailor always looks for on a mermaid. A belly button and a watch.
He says it's pointless for them to go look for the master.
I can't help it if the kid was too short to reach my dials!
He cracks because he wasn't given enough attention by the master and essentially blows himself up.
I like being stuck in this stupid wall! It's my function! He is inside with us!
All they had to do was just have him taunt the main character so they could do the usual follow your dreams message. But instead, they just leave you with this guy pretty much on the verge of death. And this is before the journey even starts. There's always that sense of harshness looming over everything. Take this scene where they're trying to get across a waterfall. They all drop, leaving the vacuum behind, and he jumps in to save them. At least, I'm sure that's what the script called for. But this is the way they show it.
Wow.
It's like they want to trick you into thinking everybody's dead and he's just left alone forever. He does jump in and eventually save them like you would expect, but I remember this moment of him just standing there alone more than when they were rescued. As a kid, I've seen a scene like this a million times, but this This I haven't seen as often. It's not needed for the story, you could cut it out and miss nothing essential, but it makes the stakes feel so much higher. Little moments like this are what help makes the film unique. With that said, it is mostly happy moments. There's upbeat songs, cute one-liners, colorful characters they discover. A lot of it is business as usual. And if you're like me, you don't remember these moments as much. They're done fine. I mean, the characters are likable enough, and it goes the route you would think a movie like this would go. The film could totally have a pass if it kept this attitude all throughout, because it is what I think everybody would expect. When the movie wants to go dark, though, it doesn't just go foreboding, it goes straight up horror film. First they enter the woods and discover some scary looking trees. Okay, that's not too bad. But it all goes hardcore when the toaster has a dream about his young master. It seems pleasant enough, but again, there's always that feeling, something's coming, I'm grabbing my teddy bear to squeeze. And suddenly, you're greeted with this. That's when you look down and realize your teddy bear now looks like this. The backgrounds get distorted, everything tries to kill him, he's dropped into a bathtub, and then he wakes up.
What the hell was that?
Yeah, I know, right? Now this even plays into the story.
What the hell
Yes,
was
you could
that?
argue the drop into the tub might tie into sacrificing himself later. Oh yeah, we'll get to that. But in terms of story, this is another scene you could cut and not miss anything important. It just gives the film an edge that, I don't know, is kind of welcomed in something as unassuming as this. Keep in mind too though, this is 40 minutes into the movie. A lot of it really is just the characters being cute and getting into antics. So when something this intense does pop up, it is a legit surprise. But it's also not out of place. If this was the only scene like this, it would be odd, but there are several more. After the blanket gets blown away in a storm, the lamp forcefully gets struck by lightning so they can get power again, and they all nearly drown to death in, again, a rather intense moment.
Blanky, I'm not scared.
Death is just a warm sleeping bag trying to strangle you. They're saved by a repairman, or so they think. They're taken to a spare parts shop, in his monster truck. Because I'll raise you more random. And all the broken appliances are like something out of a horror movie, right down to the overhead lamp doing a Peter Lorre impression. He even does the little laugh at the end like a lot of impressions do.
Use it in good health while you still can.
They make me laugh.
They realize they're not so safe when a customer asks for a blender motor. This little blender is literally running for his life until he's found and gutted like a snuff film. This is like Johnny number 5 getting beaten in Short Circuit 2. If any part of this thing was human, this would be a hard R. I don't even know what half those things are. I just know they're gory as shit. In fact, I think I need a minute. Here's this. Okay, sorry, I think we're good. No, one more. Okay, false alarm. Back to the movie. The appliances sing a song pretty much confirming they're a horror film. It's like a movie. It's a movie show. And incorporate some really creative designs, fun colors, and shadows. After the radio gets picked up to be gutted next, the appliances band together and decide to break some rules to scare the shit out of him. Toy Story! We'll do it. Something I love about the fact that the customer essentially sees all these things come to life, break through the walls, and has absolutely no reaction to it.
Just wondering if you got my radio tubes.
Also, hail Satan, I guess. When they finally get to the city they think their master is at, which by the way, I love the design of this place. It's like a mix of St. Canard and Bay Pig in the City. They discover he grew up and ironically is taking his girlfriend to his childhood cabin where all his appliances aren't. When they get to his apartment of animator in-joke number kajillion, the new appliances don't like them and send them to the dumpster to die. They're sent to the local garbage dump where once again, something is trying to kill them. This time it's a giant magnet sending all the forgotten garbage, which yes, are alive, to be pounded into a dead cube. And this isn't like the AC where once the master comes back, he just turns him back on. This is like the blender. When they're dead, they're dead.
There ain't nothing you can do about it. Pardon me while I panic!
On that literal note, though, this song is pretty great. Most of the songs in this movie aren't bad, they're just kind of forgettable. But this song, ironically called Worthless, is easily the best one. It's super catchy, the lyrics are clever, and as you'd imagine, it's pretty damn dark.
I come from Casey, Missouri, and I got my kicks out of Route 66. Every truck stop from Butte to MO.
They all sing about how they used to be valued until they were abandoned, and now their last words are frantically singing about how they used to have it all.
Once took a Texan to a wedding. He kept forgetting his loneliness, letting his thoughts turn to home and return.
No, really, this song needs a lot more love. Oh, maybe it just needs a little more love then. Actually, okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one who loves this song. But after that happy tune of death, the master finds the appliances there after the TV recommends he goes to the dump to save them.
What about Rooney's down on 53rd?
This just in. Rooney's vacuum's found to be carcinogenic in recent lab tests.
So I get the idea the TV is altering the picture to save them all, but a part of me always wondered if somehow that was affecting a real person being filmed. Welcome to the 6 o'clock news, our first story. Your appliances are gonna be killed in the city dump! Hurry! Now whether. This builds up to the climax that, you guessed it, is pretty damn intense. The magnet tries to get all the appliances squashed down. He's surprisingly a good villain because he never talks, you have no idea what his deal is. You just know he wants them dead and will even sacrifice a human life to do it. And that's exactly what happens as the master gets stuck in the rubble and is about to be destroyed along with the rest of them. Everything goes red like it's the end of Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings, and the dude is screaming at the top of his lungs so he isn't squished into a bloody pancake. The toaster sees the only way to save him is to throw himself in the gears, and Jesus, look how this is edited. This is how a Cronenberg movie ends. As you'd guess, he does launch himself into the gears, saving the master, but as you'd also guess, he's okay in the end. Still, man, can't imagine many kids were having fun watching their big eye protagonist go through this.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, though, all the appliances are fine and they're all reunited in a happy ending.
You're all a bunch of junk.
So yeah, okay, I guess that was a little much. I guess when I think back on the film, I do remember the darker scenes a lot more. I just don't remember there being a ton of them. Like I said, the first legitimately scary moments are about 40 minutes in, and there's only a handful that are spread out throughout the rest of the film. Compare this to, say, Coraline or Return to Oz, where there's either something scary or messed up around every corner, and you can see the difference. However, I will give credit, even though the film isn't always dark, it does usually have kind of a tough tone. It's kind of like saying Little Red Riding Hood is a really dark story. It depends on what you focus on. Almost every version of the story, though, is direct with the dangers in the world. That's what most kids take out of it, and I think kids also take that out of this. The bright stuff is bright and happy moments are happy, as they should be. But the idea of something bad being around the corner is always in the back of your head, and I found those kids' movies usually stuck with me a lot more. For a story that almost by design has to talk down to you, it doesn't talk down to you too much. It lets you know you're not always safe, so that when you do get to the pleasant moments, you enjoy them all the more. And much like a lot of the films we talk about on here, it really is the characters that anchor us to everything. Okay, they're not phenomenal or especially deep characters, but they're charming and likable enough. You want to see them get to their master, and you're willing to get through the hard stuff because it makes their connections to the ones they love all the stronger. I'm not gonna act like this is one of the great animated films, but it is much better than it has any right to be. The animation is smooth, the expression's on point, and everything is exaggerated in a way that's memorable, especially the freaky moments. The happy moments are there too, but I think the rougher moments are the ones we find ourselves appreciating more. It is interesting commentary too that the film where they go to a different planet isn't nearly as scary as the one where they just stay on Earth. For a movie that did not need to try that hard, both the excitable kid in me and the sick, twisted adult in me is glad they did. I'm the Nostalgia Critic guy, remember? So you don't have to.
What are you gonna do, suck me to death?
God, that's a weird line to put in a kid's movie. Like, why would you put that in there? Yep, that was Brave Little Toaster by Nostalgia Critic. Yeah, never, as a kid, seen this movie. And I think if I did, God, I probably would have been traumatized for life. Jesus. Ay, ay, ay. Well, see you on the next video. Bye.